Spain declared a state of emergency in Ceuta over a mass migrant surge. Israel's UN ambassador responded by mocking Spain's colonial enclaves in Africa. Some Spanish politicians are asking whether this is retaliation for Madrid's Gaza policy. Nobody has proof, everyone has a theory. The Mediterranean is never just about migration. Spain's migration crisis in its North African enclave of Ceuta has now spilled into a diplomatic confrontation with Israel, after senior Israeli and Spanish officials exchanged sharp accusations on social media amid already strained ties over the Gaza war. The latest row began when Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, reacted to Spain declaring a state of emergency over the mass migrant influx into Ceuta.
Spain, which never misses an opportunity to lecture Israel, has declared a state of emergency in Ceuta following the crisis over its immigration policy. Maybe before it continues lecturing us, it's time it explained to the world why it still maintains colonial enclaves in Africa.
Spain's Transport Minister Oscar Puente responded with a brief but pointed message.
Well, things are starting to get pretty clear.
While Puente did not explain the remark, it was widely interpreted in Spain as a reference to growing suspicions among some politicians and commentators that the migration crisis may be linked to broader geopolitical tensions following Madrid's criticism of Israel's war in Gaza. Puente then escalated the exchange with another post.
You know what? I want Spain to be a sovereign nation in an interconnected world. I don't want it to be a branch office of Trump or Netanyahu.
The online dispute quickly expanded beyond government officials. Spanish political commentator Carolina Alonso alleged that Israel was seeking to pressure Spain in retaliation for its Gaza policy.
Not to mention that Israel doesn't mince words when it comes to admitting complicity in all this.
Referring to calls by some Italian politicians to suspend Spain from the Schengen area, Alonso further claimed,
"The Spanish right and the far right have been working at full throttle against Spain's interests all this time, being true defenders of Israel's and the United States' interests tied to Morocco and not to Spain. At the first opportunity, they've rushed to back Morocco's pretensions."
Alonso also argued that Spain could find itself increasingly isolated within Europe.
In the end, Spain will come out of this alone, without the support of the European Union and with a few backstabs from supposed allies who then come running to us for help in the face of the Russian threat like Finland, the trapper threat like Denmark, or the energy needs like Italy.
Similar claims were echoed by Gabriel Rufián, parliamentary spokesperson for the Republican left of Catalonia.
The Moroccan dictatorship in the service of the US and Israel is once again blackmailing Spain and Europe this summer by turning its own people into disposable cannon fodder.
Journalist Jose Visner also revived a 2019 social media post by Yair Netanyahu, questioning whether the current crisis reflected political retaliation.
Netanyahu's son hinted in 2019 that Israel funds separatist movements in Ceuta and Melilla, Spain. Is there any doubt that this is revenge against Sanchez that all Spaniards are paying for?
Meanwhile, a Moroccan news outlet accused Israel of exploiting the crisis, while Moroccan voices offered sharply different interpretations. One Moroccan source argued,
Many Moroccans rejected the description of the event as illegal migration. Many Moroccans said the incident had nothing to do with illegal immigration, but rather with Moroccans crossing the border into a Moroccan city under Spanish occupation. The problem is the occupation itself, not the arrival of Moroccans on their ancestral land.
Another Moroccan source rejected the border breach altogether, suggesting other actors may have exploited the unrest.
It was an attempt to damage the country's image. Some in Morocco have claimed that Algerians and even figures linked to Iran may be behind the chaos, using social media to mobilize crowds and fuel tensions inside the country.
Relations between Spain and Israel have steadily deteriorated since the Gaza war began in October 2023. Spain recognized the State of Palestine in May 2024, repeatedly called for an immediate ceasefire. and has emerged as one of Israel's strongest critics within Europe. At this stage, allegations linking Israel, the United States, or Morocco to the Ceuta migration surge remain political claims made by commentators and politicians. No official evidence has been publicly presented to substantiate those accusations. Spain says it has brought under control an unprecedented migrant surge into its North African enclave of Ceuta, after tens of thousands of people crossed the border from Morocco by land and sea in one of the largest mass crossings ever seen at the European Union's external frontier. According to the Spanish Interior Ministry, around 50,000 migrants crossed into Ceuta since the morning of July 30th. Ceuta Regional President Juan Jesus Vivas said that the authorities are managing to reverse the vast majority of the crossings.
Around 50,000 people had crossed the border since Thursday morning, and it is estimated that 48,300 had returned by 6 p.m. on July 31st. As many as 60,000 people had pushed across over the past couple of days.
The humanitarian toll has been severe. The Spanish government's representative in Ceuta said 57 bodies had been recovered on the Spanish side of the border, adding there could be additional casualties in Morocco. Authorities said some migrants drowned, while others were crushed trying to climb the breakwater supporting the border fence. Footage showed Moroccan riot police using batons, tear gas, and water cannons to stop more people from entering Ceuta. Burnt remains of a bus and 7 vehicles were visible after clashes, while Spanish military vehicles lined the border as dozens of migrants watched from a hilltop inside Morocco. Hundreds of migrants were later seen returning through official border crossings and gaps in the fence after failing to find food or shelter. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez condemned the incident as an attack on Spain's sovereignty.
To describe what happened yesterday as an attack, a violation of Spain's territorial integrity, Ceuta is a Spanish city, and what happened yesterday deserves our strongest reproach and our firmest condemnation.
Sánchez also said the crisis marked an unprecedented shift in Spain's migration pattern.
In any case, this situation is indeed unprecedented. It breaks with the trend we had been seeing across Spain of a steady year-on-year and month-on-month reduction in irregular migrant arrivals, and therefore we must not only act on the urgent issues, but also make sure we do not forget to act on what is important.
Many migrants said they were turning back after finding no basic necessities inside Ceuta.
I wanted to have a better life but found here only hunger and misery. I wanted to join my mother in Spain. Everything was closed, including cafes. 1 cigarette was sold at 2 euros. This is too much. 1 baguette of bread was at 3 euros. The Moroccans of Ceuta are really harsh and oppressors. Moroccans of Ceuta, 0. I am going back. There is nothing to do here. Locals of Ceuta have treated us badly. We are hungry. Shops are closed. There was nothing.
The crisis has also sparked political tensions across Europe. Italy announced it was temporarily suspending Schengen border-free travel with Spain for air and sea passengers, a move Madrid says violates EU treaties.
The government has decided to temporarily suspend the free movement regime provided for by Schengen in maritime and air connections with Spain, reintroducing border controls. This is an extraordinary measure adopted to safeguard national security and prevent possible repercussions for our nation. The measure will be kept in force only for the time necessary, with particular attention to limiting any impact on summer tourist flows.
Meanwhile, Moroccan authorities reinforced security around the nearby Spanish enclave of Melilla, where officers fired smoke grenades and clashed with hundreds of migrants attempting another mass border crossing. Underscoring mounting pressure along Europe's southern frontier.